We are back with the college docs, Dr. Amanda Sterk and
Dr. Jessica Ruzicka. It's October 27th already, Amanda. Can you believe it?
I can because we are in the thick of college admissions, getting things submitted, dotting all our I's, crossing all our T's. But I'm already having students getting acceptances back, which is amazing.
Mhm.
Some within a week, 2 weeks, and the kids are just so ecstatic to start seeing those already coming in. So
Exactly.
very,
This is the fun part, right?
it
They've
is.
done all the hard work and now they just get to open those letters of acceptance and see all that hard work pay off, really.
Absolutely. And again, just reiterates the whole process and why we do what we do. But yeah, end of October, I know a lot going on. And so I'm actually kind of excited. And I want to tell you next week, I get to do my first formal college visit with my daughter.
Oh my.
And, I have done, I don't even say hundreds, but pretty close. How
Mhm.
many colleges I visited. I've gone and spent days and weekends at colleges as they kind of wine and dine, college admission counselors and stuff. And so being on the other side of the table for the first time, and I've helped literally thousands of students through this process, but it's different when it's your own
It
kid, you
is.
know?
Yeah, it's personal. It's your child. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your two worlds are colliding. In
They
other words,
are. And
yeah.
don't worry, parents, I get the eye roll just as much as mom. Like, I know this, as you do. But I think it will be a good time because I'm having a lot of our juniors, and we
Mhm.
are getting more and more juniors and sophomores every day, which is super exciting. Just shows the growth of our program. What we're doing is working, right? A lot of referrals, which is fantastic. But we're getting a lot of questions. So not only am I doing college visits, but they're asking me, how do we do the college visit? So, what are some of
Exactly.
your tips and tricks on
Exactly.
guide me as a mom through this process?
Oh my gosh, it can be so overwhelming when you're just kind of starting out, right? Because there's so many different ways that you can go about doing this. And there is really no right or wrong way. It's just based on what the student is looking for, what the family values as far as a college campus and the degree program. So, of course, we always say start with your intended major if you know one, because there's no sense in going to a school if it doesn't have your major. So that's an easy one to kind of start doing that college search tool, and seeing what colleges offer that degree program. We always say visit a wide variety. So whether that be a small private school, and then even if the student's like, I don't want to go to a small private school, I want to go to a big, Big Ten football school. Well, great. Well, go visit, and then you're able to compare the two. Because every college has its own personality, it has its own vibe, as the students say. And so just making sure that you're choosing something that's going to match your goals, your aspirations, your personality too. Right, Amanda? I mean, you don't,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, they're all so different.
Yeah, and I have a lot of students right now that are applying, they want the big school feel, but then they want the small school. So then they're looking at additional honors programs or co-op
Mhm.
opportunities, or they're sort of like extras that sort
Uh-huh.
of make that kind of college experience unique to them. And so I think that that's really important as well is, sometimes you think about like, oh, where am I at sort of academically with these colleges? And they might be a little above maybe what some colleges are looking, but if you can get into those sort of direct entry programs that guide you right to a master's or a graduate degree or an honors program or a research program, like that can really elevate a student really starting their freshman year versus waiting until junior senior year to have those opportunities.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, the special programs, they are just being, it seems like, offered and created more and more every single year. So understanding what opportunities are out there, and what is offered today, because it's completely different from when I went to school a long time ago. There's a lot of really cool opportunities, like you said, to kind of get that competitive advantage or find what you're looking for. out there today. So one of the questions we always get from the very beginning is, well, how do I know about college tours? How do I get on a college tour? Right. And so easy. Again, thank gosh for the internet. So you just go to the college, whatever college you want to go to, look at their admissions page. Usually 9 times out of 10, there'll be a visit us, come see us, junior preview day. And so all the information to sign up with is right on usually the admissions page of the university.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know when we were looking at going about a month ago. We were going to go in October. We kind of wanted to see the leaves in the fall and everything else, and it just didn't work for us. I'm in college admission season, wasn't going to work for us. And so we knew like at certain times of the year, they drop off, like they might have Friday and Saturdays and every day. But it's hard when kids are in school to pull them out. And so we knew going on this trip, we had to be selective, like which ones does she want to do what we call a formal tour, to get on campus, to do the tour, have somebody walk us around. And then some of the other ones we're doing more of what we call informal, because we are going to be there over the weekend. And a lot of times admissions is not working. And so we really kind of picked. And so even though we only have like 1 or 2 formal tours, in our plans, we have a lot of informal tours where we're just going to walk around campus. If admissions is open, we're going to stop in. And I think, like you said, and that's just because, well, one, we're going to Boston, which is like, a million schools all right in one. Yes. But that way, at least she can kind of see the campus, the vibe of it. Does she like that town? Does she not? So I think that's just as important as doing the formal tours is doing the informal, just going and checking it out.
Yes, absolutely. And then another question on the formal tours, do you always get, well, what question should we ask, right?
Yeah.
There's so many questions. You can ask any question you want. That's the beauty of it. I mean, everything from asking the student ambassador, how's the food, how's the dorms, to asking, more academic in nature questions like, how's the rigor? How much homework do you have? What's your hardest class? Yeah. So really, you can ask whatever you want, and they'll be honest with you.
And I think what's important there is try not to ask things that you can find yourself. Mm-hmm. So for example, don't ask about their ACT, SAT, like what's your average range? You can find that. So when you have that time, that's really like gold, right? So exactly what you said, Jessica, is that sort of that culture and like what the student experience really is. That's the time to explore things that you normally can't find on a website.
Exactly. Right. Like what do the students typically do on the weekends? What is the typical start? Yeah, where do you go? What do they do? Does everyone go home or does everyone stay on campus? Those types of questions, especially if your student is going out of state, you don't want them to be there all by themselves.
Yeah. And, there are I kind of went to a college that was sort of a suitcase college, everybody was there kind of Monday through Thursday, but it was close enough to home that sort of everyone took off Thursday night. Mm-hmm. So the weekends were kind of dead, and right. Like you said, if you're going out of state and that's that type of school, that could affect it. My daughter, fortunately she's in karate, but I do think safety, do I feel safe in this area? If you run, can you run around campus? And, not all schools are built, in really great areas. And so knowing that is really important. Like, can I walk and do I feel like this is a good campus for me? So formal is amazing. Informal, and I started my kids out occupational hazard when they were like 7th grade. Like we're like, oh, let's take a trip and stop by University of Florida. Let's go stop by here. And we're always checking out campuses and so forth. But I just had a student come back from 2 fly-in opportunities. So he is a great student, national merit, semifinalist. And so really, he's a finalist. So he got a fly-in opportunity where Stanford flew him out to visit the campus and go there. And he also got one for Tufts University.
Nice.
And, was interesting. So, he kept talking about ED for Stanford. He went out there and it was like,
Not for
not
me.
his fit. It wasn't his fit. Well, just location and everything. And for other people, it's a great fit. It's a
Right,
beautiful
right,
college.
right.
But for him, because of that fly-in, that Tufts is actually what sort of rose to the
Right.
top. But those fly-in, especially if you're low income minority students, usually they're free. They fly you in for the weekend, and they're really trying to recruit, certain types of students. And usually it's an application process. It can be anywhere from the summer or early fall. But I love those fly-in
Mhm.
opportunities. So definitely take advantage if that's something that your student would be interested in.
For sure. Yes. You can learn so much just by being on that campus. And we've had a lot of students do that too, which reminds me right now, all of our seniors, like we mentioned, are getting some acceptances. And then a lot of times too, they have to make a decision between two of these schools. And so the college, going back for a second college tour,
Yes.
can be very helpful for them as well. So
Absolutely. And so part of it right now is people again asking about sort of the process is go broad right now. Go see if you're traveling, you're going on vacation, stop by, check things out, go look for other colleges, maybe like us, you have to do kind of a specific trip and try to get several in. But as you narrow down, going back, re-looking at it with fresh eyes, because kids learn a lot through this process and parents learn a lot from this process. And so you might have to go back and make another decision.
Mhm.
I also want to kind of talk about some of the other ones. So not everybody can fly. Like we're not going to be able to visit all of my daughter's schools. Like we know this. I also like to tap into the big college fairs. So whether your college fair is at your school or even your school district, and sometimes there's a consortium that they travel together. So you can get, 20, 50 schools, just depends on where you're located. And why I like the school-based ones is those are typically the admissions that read your applications, that know your school and go through that. So good people to know, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that personal connection of meeting them in person and having a conversation with them, and asking really great questions at the college fair. Again, it's information gathering, right? And so that information can go a far ways in that process, especially if it's a school you're very interested in. That shows interest that you've come out. And then, yeah, showing interest. I know too, with these college tours, a lot of schools, at least in my area, give out, if you've made a college visit, an official visit, you either get somewhere like $1,000 scholarship if you go there, or
Yeah.
even a free application code
Yeah, the waivers.
yeah. So again, so many benefits. And then of course it shows that you're interested to the admissions counselor that you visited that school. So.
Absolutely. So following up with them, there's also big national fairs out there. NACAC, which is it's like I always get it wrong. It's too many A's. It's like the National Admission Counselor Association, something similar. It's NACAC. But if you look up NACAC, they have big fairs. And I know I took her out to Miami because unfortunately from where I live, there wasn't one close, but Miami had one, Fort Lauderdale, because they're bigger cities. But they had like over 100, I think they're almost like 150
Wow.
universities all came in to do that big college fair. And it was a little crazy. It was a lot of people, but we were able to talk to some schools like in Canada and all over that we wouldn't have been able to
Exactly.
otherwise.
Right. There's so many out there. So that's just a really great avenue too, if you have any in your area to kind of go to.
And they also have some virtual. So NACAC, I know, has virtual college fairs all throughout the year that you can tap into. And sometimes they do it by region. So Southeast, Northeast, Northwest, and so forth. So definitely check those out. And then also, a lot of times, each college has their own college virtual fair. So they might do something online. And so if you can't make it out, any way that you can interact with them, you definitely do. And that's what, now that kids are submitting, we're talking about demonstrated interest, that revisit. So I'm telling them to go back through, connect again, make sure you've done everything you can to connect with the admissions.
That helps. It's so important. And then the other opportunity too that sometimes students can take more of an advantage of, I think, is a lot of the admissions counselors will make special visits to the high schools. So I know when I was in admissions and then when I was a school counselor, I've been on both sides of that. But really, the college's admissions officers will come to the high school and set up a table, and they really want to meet the students and interact with them, and just give them information that they might have. A lot of freebies. The students always come up to the table for the free things, but that's another way too, to just kind of be gathering information to see if it's a good fit for your student.
Yeah, I'll just tell a quick story. We had a school came out, and they had never been to our high school before, and it was a early college collegiate. And so just like you, what we were saying about asking good questions. So we have prepped our students to ask good questions and really engage. And I could tell the guy was tired. He had the fair the night before. He's coming in. He'd never been to school, and he was kind of like, blah, blah, blah. And the kids were just so engaged. And all of a sudden, like, he realized like the kids were in it, right? And the whole conversation changed. We had this amazing conversation, and the guy ended up loving everybody and the questions. And it was just this really fun time that he wasn't expecting. But I will tell you, we had 8 kids that came. All 8 applied and to that college because they really connected with this guy. He followed up. All 8 applied. 4 ended up going there. But I will tell you, in that group, out of the 8, we counted it up, they had over $400,000 worth of scholarships, all combined by being admitted to that program. And it was literally a direct, I could see the link of coming to that college visit, asking good questions, the kids applied, and then the scholarship. So 4 ended up going, and 2 ended up going into their direct entry med school program. And they had a full shot, and one of them ended up with a presidential scholarship. So they won a full ride. This is a true story, full ride. And it was just amazing. It was one conversation changed the whole thing. And it was one college visit. And I don't think it was even on the kids' list. I was like, oh, they have a direct entry into like an MD, DO program. And yeah, over $800,000 worth of scholarships. It was crazy.
That's a great story. And that is powerful, right? I mean, again, just making those connections and taking the opportunities that are in front of us. I mean, you just never really know. So
you never know.
You never know.
But I will never know. And I will say one more thing as we kind of finish up, so I'm taking my daughter. We live in Florida. We know this. I have palm trees out my window, and she's set on the Northeast.
Okay.
And what I do try to tell her is to focus on, yes, it's important to get your feelings into it and to think about you living on that campus. But some of these schools are difficult to get into, and when we look at financial aid and we look at scholarships and we look at the whole package, we can't make a decision on a college until we have that admission letter in front of us and we have that award letter in front of us. So the only thing I caution you, because I'm going through this and I will be going through this next week, is trying to remove some of the emotion from the decision and getting that this is my only option, right? Because there's so much that will happen for her between now and next April when we have to make that decision. So just when you go into it, really try to think analytically and think comprehensively and thinking and focusing on what does that student need. Not that it's a super pretty campus and there's fall and it's cold and I can go drink hot cocoa.
And I'm sure for some of the students up north, it's like Florida is appealing.
Florida's the other way. Absolutely.
It's turning cold up there right now. Yeah. So we're like, oh, wow, palm trees out your window, Amanda. Yeah. So great. So exciting to be on this journey with you. You go first. I've got a few more years, but.
And I think we're actually going to be doing our live next week. I said, let's do our live. I think I'll be at BU, at Boston University. So,
okay, good.
Well, wherever campus we're going live, and I'll show you what's going on and
so
update you on our tour.
Okay, on your journey up north.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be fun. So as always, it's been so fantastic. I know we try to keep it under 20 minutes. So anything else, Jess, that you have to?
No, that's good. No, we are excited for November 1st. It's just a few days away. So I know
we're excited. And I mean, we still have that amazing deal going on right now for our College Advising packages. And we just picked up a lot of new families or some juniors. They're super excited to get started and having these conversations now instead of waiting for another year.
Yes.
So really exciting. So if you are interested, Amanda at Method Learning, and then Jessica at Method Learning, either one of us would love to talk with you and tell you more and get you part of our program.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. All right. Have a good weekend.
You too.